If you and your partner are entering 2026 together, you need to stop doing these 3 things today. The third one is the most common mistake, and it's probably destroying your relationship right now without you even realizing it. Before we dive in, if you want a healthier relationship this year, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're about to break down the psychology behind why couples repeat the same toxic patterns year after year. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. A new year doesn't automatically reset your relationship. You don't get a clean slate just because the calendar changed. The same patterns you had in 2025 will follow you into 2026 unless you actively choose to change them. And that change starts with stopping these 3 behaviors that are silently killing your connection. First, stop bringing old pain into new fights. If every argument you have turns into "remember what you did last year," or "you always do this," or "last time you said," you're not solving the problem in front of you. You're reopening old wounds that never actually healed. Psychologically, this is called kitchen sinking. You're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, into the argument instead of addressing the actual issue at hand. From a conflict resolution perspective, this behavior makes it impossible to move forward. Your partner can't defend themselves against the past and the present at the same time. So they shut down, get defensive, or fight back by bringing up your past mistakes. And suddenly you're in a war about everything that's ever gone wrong instead of having a productive conversation about what's happening now. Here's what's really going on beneath the surface. When you bring up old pain, it's usually because the original issue was never properly resolved. You said you forgave them, but you didn't actually process the hurt. You moved on for the sake of peace, but the resentment stayed lodged inside you. And now every new conflict becomes a chance for that old pain to resurface. According to attachment theory, this pattern often shows up in people with anxious attachment. You hold on to past hurts as evidence that abandonment or betrayal could happen again. Your brain catalogs every mistake your partner has ever made so it can protect you by staying vigilant. But that's not protection. That's prison for both of you. From a neurological standpoint, every time you rehash old arguments, you're reinforcing the neural pathways associated with that pain. Your brain literally strengthens the connection between your partner and negative emotions. Over time, this creates a baseline of resentment that colors everything they do. They could do something completely neutral, and your brain will filter it through the lens of past hurts. Here's the shift that needs to happen. If something from the past still bothers you, it needs its own conversation. Not in the heat of a new argument, but in a calm moment where you can say, "I realize I haven't fully processed what happened last year, and I need us to talk about it." That's honest. That's productive. That's how you actually heal instead of just covering wounds with band-aids. Behaviorally, couples who successfully move forward from past hurts follow a specific pattern. They acknowledge the pain, they have a real conversation about it, they establish what needs to change going forward, and then they consciously decide to release it. Not forget it, but release the charge around it so it doesn't keep contaminating the present. But if you keep weaponizing the past in present arguments, you're telling your partner that nothing they do will ever be enough. They could spend all of 2026 being the perfect partner, and it won't matter because you'll still throw 2025 in their face during a fight. That's exhausting. And eventually they'll stop trying, because why put in effort if the past is always going to be held against them? Now let's talk about the second thing you need to stop. Stop using breakup words when you don't mean them. "I'm done. Let's just end this. Maybe we're not right for each other. I can't do this anymore." These phrases don't solve anything. They just create fear. And fear kills love slowly. Psychologically, threatening to leave during an argument is a power move. It's a way to gain control when you feel powerless. You're essentially saying, "If you don't give me what I want right now, I'll take away the relationship." But here's what you don't realize. Every time you threaten to leave, you chip away at your partner's sense of security. From an attachment perspective, security is the foundation of healthy love. When someone feels secure, they can be vulnerable. They can communicate openly. They can work through conflicts without defensiveness. But when you keep threatening to leave, you destroy that security. Your partner starts walking on eggshells, afraid that one wrong move will trigger another breakup threat. Behaviorally, this creates a horrible dynamic. Your partner becomes less honest because they're afraid honesty will make you leave. They start suppressing their needs because expressing them feels too risky. They begin managing your emotions instead of being authentic. And over time, you end up with a relationship built on fear instead of love. Here's the deeper issue. If you're constantly threatening to leave, one of two things is true. Either you actually do want to leave, and you need to have that real conversation, or you're using the threat as a manipulation tactic. Neither of those is healthy. If you genuinely want to stay, you need to stop holding the relationship hostage every time things get hard. From a communication standpoint, breakup threats are lazy conflict resolution. Instead of expressing what you actually need, you're trying to scare your partner into compliance. But compliance isn't connection. Someone can agree to your demands out of fear and still resent you for it. That's not a relationship. That's a hostage situation. Neurologically, repeated threats of abandonment activate your partner's amygdala, the fear center of the brain. Over time, their nervous system begins to associate the relationship with threat. Even during good moments, there's a background hum of anxiety because they never know when the next threat is coming. That's trauma. You're literally traumatizing the person you claim to love. Here's what high-functioning couples do instead. When they're overwhelmed during a fight, they say, "I need a break to calm down," instead of "I'm done." When they're frustrated, they say, "I'm really hurt right now, and I need space to process," instead of "maybe we should just break up." They communicate their emotional state without threatening the foundation of the relationship. This requires emotional maturity. You have to learn to express distress without using nuclear options. You have to build the capacity to feel angry, or hurt, or frustrated without immediately reaching for the exit door. And that's hard, especially if you grew up in an environment where conflict meant the end of relationships. From a developmental psychology perspective, people who threaten breakups often had early experiences where love was conditional. Maybe a parent threatened to leave or send them away when they misbehaved. Maybe relationships in their family ended abruptly without repair. So now, as an adult, you've learned that when things get hard, you leave or threaten to leave. But here's the truth. Real love isn't about staying because you're afraid of threats. It's about choosing each other even when it's difficult. And if you want that kind of love, you have to stop holding your relationship hostage. You have to commit to working through problems instead of running from them. Think about what happens physiologically to your partner every time you threaten to leave. Their cortisol spikes, their heart rate increases, their body goes into fight or flight mode. They're experiencing the same stress response they would if they were being chased by a predator. Except the predator is you, the person they love. Over time, this repeated activation of the stress response can lead to serious health issues: high blood pressure, weakened immune system, digestive problems, insomnia. You're not just damaging the relationship, you're damaging their body. And for what? To win an argument? To feel powerful in a moment of vulnerability? Here's the shift. Before you threaten to leave, ask yourself, am I actually ready to walk away right now? Or am I just trying to hurt them because I'm hurt? If it's the latter, find different words. Say, "I'm so hurt right now, I don't even know what to say." Say, "I need time to calm down before we continue this conversation." Say, "I feel overwhelmed, and I need you to hear how much this is affecting me." Those statements communicate your emotional reality without destroying your partner's sense of security. They invite connection instead of creating distance. And they set you up for actual resolution instead of just temporary compliance born from fear. Now the third thing, and this is the one that probably describes you even if the first two didn't. Stop testing your partner. Don't go silent to see if they'll notice. Don't drop hints and expect mind reading. Don't create little tests to see if they care enough to pass them. This is one of the most toxic patterns in modern relationships, and most people don't even realize they're doing it. Psychologically, testing behavior comes from insecurity and past wounds. If you've been disappointed before, if people have let you down, if love felt unreliable growing up, your brain develops a protective mechanism. Instead of directly asking for what you need and risking rejection, you test. You create scenarios where your partner has to prove their love without being told that's what's happening. But here's the problem. Tests aren't communication. They're traps. You're setting your partner up to fail because they don't know they're being tested. And when they fail, you use that as evidence that they don't care, they're not paying attention, they're not good enough. But they never had a fair chance to succeed because you never told them what you actually needed. From a communication theory perspective, this is called indirect communication. Instead of saying, "I'm feeling disconnected and I need quality time with you," you go quiet and wait to see if they notice. Instead of saying, "I need verbal affirmation today because I'm feeling insecure," you fish for compliments and feel hurt when they don't spontaneously appear. Here's what this looks like in real relationships. You're upset about something, so you withdraw. You tell yourself if they really loved me, they'd notice I'm upset and ask what's wrong. But your partner might not notice because they're not mind readers. Or they might notice but give you space because they think that's what you want. So you interpret their behavior as not caring, when really it was just them trying to respect what they thought you needed. Or maybe you mention wanting something casually, like wouldn't it be nice to go to that restaurant, and then you wait to see if they remember and plan it. When they don't, you feel hurt and unloved. But from their perspective, it was just a passing comment, not a request. They had no idea you were testing whether they pay attention to your desires. Behaviorally, this testing dynamic creates a cycle of disappointment. You test, they fail because they don't know they're being tested. You feel hurt and pull away. They sense the distance but don't understand what caused it, and the gap between you grows. Meanwhile, you're both confused and frustrated and feeling unloved. From an attachment perspective, testing behaviors are classic anxious attachment strategies. You want reassurance, but you're afraid to ask for it directly because direct requests feel vulnerable. What if you ask and they say no? What if you express a need and they can't meet it? That rejection would be unbearable. So instead, you test. You create situations where you can gather evidence about whether they love you without having to risk direct vulnerability. But here's the cruel irony. Tests never actually reassure you. Even when your partner passes a test, it doesn't satisfy the underlying insecurity. Your brain just creates another test. Because the problem isn't whether they care. The problem is that you don't believe you're worthy of care. And no amount of past tests will fix that core belief. Neurologically, testing keeps you in a state of chronic anxiety. You're constantly scanning for evidence, evaluating their behavior, measuring whether they're meeting some invisible standard. Your nervous system never gets to relax into secure attachment because you're always vigilant, always looking for the next test. Here's what successful couples do instead. They communicate directly. They say, "I'm feeling disconnected. Can we spend time together tonight?" They say, "I'm struggling with insecurity today. Could you reassure me that we're okay?" They say, "I mentioned that restaurant because I'd really love to go there. Could we plan that?" They make their needs clear instead of hiding them behind tests. This requires courage. Direct communication is vulnerable. You're putting your needs out there with no guarantee they'll be met. But it's also the only way to build genuine intimacy. Because when your partner meets a clearly expressed need, you can actually feel loved. When they pass a secret test, there's always doubt, because maybe it was just coincidence. Maybe they didn't really understand what you needed. From a relationship satisfaction perspective, couples who communicate directly report much higher satisfaction than couples who rely on indirect communication and testing. Because direct communication creates clarity, both people know where they stand. There's no guessing, no hidden expectations, no secret tests that can be failed unknowingly. Let's talk about why testing feels so compelling even though it doesn't work. When you test and your partner passes, you get a hit of relief and validation. Your brain releases a little dopamine that says, "See, they do care." But that relief is temporary because you didn't actually build security. You just confirmed care in this one specific instance. So your brain quickly moves to the next test. Can they pass this one too? And if they fail even one test, all the past tests become meaningless. Your brain focuses on the failure, as evidence that they don't really care. This is called negativity bias. The brain weighs negative experiences more heavily than positive ones, especially when you're already primed to look for rejection. Here's another layer. Sometimes testing is a form of self-protection. If you make your partner jump through hoops to prove they love you, you're creating distance. And distance feels safer than vulnerability. If they fail the tests, you have an excuse to not fully open your heart. If they pass the tests, you can stay a little guarded, because maybe next time they won't pass. From a fear of intimacy perspective, testing can be a way to keep love at arm's length. True intimacy requires you to be seen, to be vulnerable, to risk rejection. But if you're constantly testing, you never have to fully let someone in. You're always evaluating, rather than experiencing. Here's the shift that needs to happen. You have to start trusting that your needs are valid and that expressing them directly is not only okay, but necessary. Your partner is not a mind reader. They cannot pass tests they don't know they're taking, and they shouldn't have to prove their love through a series of invisible challenges. Practically, this means changing your internal dialogue. When you feel the urge to test, pause and ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Then express that need clearly. I need reassurance. I need quality time. I need affection. I need to talk about something that's bothering me. Direct communication might feel scary, but it's infinitely more effective than testing. From a vulnerability perspective, direct communication is actually a sign of strength, not weakness. It takes courage to say, I need you right now. It takes maturity to express your emotions clearly, instead of making someone guess. And it creates the kind of deep connection that testing never can. Let's talk about what happens when both partners are testing each other. You're waiting for them to initiate quality time to prove they care. They're waiting for you to express appreciation to prove you're happy. Both of you are withholding while waiting for the other to go first. Meanwhile, both of you feel unloved and unappreciated because neither is getting what they need. This is called a relationship standoff. Both people are hurt, both are withdrawn, both are waiting for the other to make the first move. And the relationship slowly dies from neglect because nobody wants to be vulnerable first. Breaking this pattern requires someone to step up and lead with vulnerability even when it's scary. Here's what that looks like. You say, I realize we've both been distant lately, and I want to fix that. I've been waiting for you to initiate connection, but I recognize that's not fair. So I'm going to be direct. I miss you. I want more time with us. Can we prioritize that this week? That's taking responsibility. That's leading with clarity. That's giving your relationship a chance. From a repair perspective, the person who recognizes the pattern first has to be the one to break it. You can't wait for your partner to read your mind and fix it. You have to take the risk of being vulnerable first. And yes, there's a chance they won't respond the way you hope. But there's a guarantee of continued disconnection if you keep testing instead of communicating. Now let's tie all three of these together because they're related. Bringing up old pain, threatening breakups, and testing your partner all stem from the same root issue: fear. Fear that you'll be hurt again. Fear that they'll leave. Fear that you're not lovable enough for them to stay. So you create these protective mechanisms that feel like they're keeping you safe, but they're actually destroying your relationship. From an emotional regulation perspective, all three behaviors are attempts to manage anxiety. When you bring up old pain, you're trying to prevent future pain by making sure they remember their mistakes. When you threaten to leave, you're trying to gain control over a situation that feels out of control. When you test them, you're trying to gather evidence of their love without risking the vulnerability of asking for it. But here's the truth. You cannot build security through insecurity-inducing behaviors. You cannot create safety by threatening danger. You cannot feel loved by setting up scenarios where your partner is likely to fail. The protection you think you're creating is actually the poison that's killing your connection. Psychologically, secure love requires vulnerability. It requires you to trust even when you're scared. It requires you to communicate even when it feels risky. It requires you to choose repair over punishment. And that's hard, especially if you've been hurt before. But think about it this way. Every relationship you've ever had has taught your brain something about love. If past relationships were painful, your brain learned that love is dangerous and it needs to protect you. So now, in a healthy relationship with someone who actually treats you well, your brain is still operating on old programming. It's still looking for threats. It's still trying to protect you from pain that isn't actually coming. And those protective behaviors are pushing away the very person who could help you feel secure. From a neural reprogramming perspective, healing this pattern requires you to consciously override those old survival instincts. You have to teach your brain that this relationship is different, and you do that by choosing different behaviors. Instead of bringing up old pain, you process it properly and release it. Instead of threatening to leave, you commit to working through hard moments. Instead of testing, you communicate directly. Every time you make one of those healthier choices, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways that say vulnerability is safe here, direct communication works here, love can be trusted here. It won't happen overnight, but with consistency, your nervous system will start to relax. The hypervigilance will decrease, and you'll be able to actually enjoy the relationship instead of constantly guarding against potential pain. Here's what couples who successfully enter a new year together do differently. They sit down and have an honest conversation about patterns they want to change. They don't wait for problems to arise. They proactively discuss what didn't work last year and what they want to do differently this year. They say things like, "I know I have a habit of bringing up the past during arguments, and I want to stop doing that. Can you help me by gently pointing it out when I do it? Or I recognize that I threaten to leave when I'm overwhelmed, and that's not fair to you. I'm going to work on expressing my feelings differently." From a collaborative problem-solving perspective, this approach transforms relationship issues from you versus me to us versus the problem. You're not blaming each other. You're acknowledging patterns and committing to change together. That creates partnership instead of opposition. Here's another critical piece. Both people have to take responsibility for their part. It's never just one person creating all the dysfunction. Maybe you bring up old pain, but they shut down during conflict. Maybe they threaten to leave, but you test them constantly. Both patterns need to be addressed. Behaviorally, change requires specific commitments. Not vague promises like "I'll be better," but concrete actions like, "When I'm upset, I will take a break to calm down before speaking instead of immediately threatening to end the relationship." Or, "I will directly ask for what I need instead of hoping you'll figure it out." From an accountability perspective, you also need to give each other permission to point out when old patterns resurface. Because they will. You'll have a moment of stress and default to threatening to leave. You'll get triggered and bring up something from last year. You'll feel insecure and create a test. That doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human and change is hard. What matters is that when it happens, your partner can say, "Hey, I think you're doing the thing we talked about." And instead of getting defensive, you pause, acknowledge it, and course correct. That's growth. That's what it looks like to actually change patterns instead of just talking about changing them. Let's talk about what happens if you don't make these changes. If you keep bringing up old pain, your partner will eventually stop apologizing for it. They'll become numb to your accusations, because no matter what they do, it's never enough. If you keep threatening to leave, your partner will either call your bluff and actually end it, or they'll become so anxious that they lose themselves trying to prevent your departure. If you keep testing them, they'll eventually stop trying to pass the tests. They'll realize that no matter what they do, you'll find fault. And they'll either leave or they'll stay, but emotionally check out. From a relationship trajectory perspective, these 3 patterns are death by 1,000 cuts. Each instance might feel small, but over time they erode trust, intimacy, and connection. Here's the reality check. The year doesn't magically reset anything. January 1st is just another day. If you want 2026 to be different than 2025, you have to make different choices. And those choices start with stopping the behaviors that are actively destroying your relationship. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing when you're falling into old patterns and choosing to do something different. It's about valuing the relationship more than you value being right, or being protected, or being in control. From a long-term relationship satisfaction perspective, couples who learn to communicate directly, fight fairly without bringing up the past, and commit to each other without constant threats report the highest levels of happiness. Not because they don't have problems, but because they handle problems in ways that bring them closer instead of pushing them apart. Here's your homework for entering 2026. Have a conversation with your partner about these 3 patterns. Ask yourself honestly which ones you do. Share that vulnerability with your partner. Ask them which patterns they see in themselves. And then commit together to calling each other out with love when those patterns show up. Create a safe word or phrase you can use when someone is falling into an old pattern. Something like, "Hey, we're doing the thing," or pause. "Let's reset this conversation." Make it gentle, not accusatory. The goal is awareness, not shame. From a habit change perspective, it takes consistent effort over time to rewire these deeply ingrained patterns. You'll mess up. That's okay. What matters is that you keep trying. Every time you catch yourself and choose differently, you're building new neural pathways. You're teaching your relationship a new way of being. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop these 3 toxic behaviors, you create space for what actually works. Open communication, emotional safety, genuine intimacy, trust that doesn't require constant testing, commitment that feels secure instead of conditional. That's what's possible when you choose health over habit. If you're watching this with your partner, or if someone sent it to you, that's already a good sign. It means there's awareness. It means there's a desire to do better. Build on that. Don't just watch this video and go back to old patterns. Actually implement what you learned. Write down the 3 behaviors. Put them somewhere visible. Check in with each other weekly about how you're doing. Celebrate the moments when you choose differently. Be patient with each other when you slip up, and keep choosing growth over comfort. Your relationship will only be as healthy as the communication you're building right now. Not the communication you hope to have someday. Not the communication you think you should have. The actual communication you're practicing every single day. If this resonated with you, if you saw yourself in any of these patterns, leave a comment sharing which one hits hardest. Send this to the person you're entering 2026 with. Share it with someone whose relationship could use this perspective. And if you're committed to building a healthier relationship this year, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because we dive deep into relationship psychology and practical tools for growth every single time. You deserve a relationship built on clarity, safety, and genuine connection. And it starts with stopping what's not working so you can build what does.